Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our monthly webinars. Today, we are going to present you a new topic about artificial intelligence. But before that, I would like to remind you that you can still register for our upcoming events. So you can scan the QR code on the screen and join our upcoming events in December. And we are already preparing something interesting for you for January. Today, we will be talking about how artificial intelligence is reshaping global markets, with United States is playing a major role in this driving innovation and change. From business and finance to healthcare and trade, AI is influencing how companies compete, grow, and of course operate worldwide. So we are excited to hear from our speakers who will share real-world insights on how AI is being used today and where it's having the biggest impact and what it means for the future of global markets. If you have any questions during our webinar, please write them in the chat and we'll be glad to answer them at the end of the webinar. And I'm glad to give the floor to our wonderful colleague, Dr. Lon. Thank you so much for joining us today, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Oksana. So, welcome everyone. My name is Jiu Long. Dr. Jiu Long. I'm a professor from Computer Information Systems from McCoy College of Business, Texas State University. So I've been working in the AI field since the the ChatGPT and generative AI take place about 3 years ago. So I'm here to answer your questions, to get the discussion going. But first, let me do a quick overview of AI and global market and also USA. You can see the title, right? It's a little bit this, kind of, it didn't show here, but it says how artificial intelligence is transforming global markets in the US. It's a very grand title. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to first open up the aperture and really bring us to the very highest level, right? It's like 30,000 feet level, right? It's like you are flying the airplane, it's way up there. And we take a look at overview of the global market, especially focus on investment and model production, and compare different geographic regions. And then we're going to lower down the airplane a little bit, right? And focus on the US and focus on the job market in the US. And then again, right, bring down the altitude to Texas, and then also zoom in into Austin San Marcos region. So that's basically the overview or the structure of my talk. So let's get started. But feel free to ask questions because I know you probably have lots of questions about AI. I'll quickly get the presentation done so we'll have more time to do question and answers. Okay, so let's get started here. Hold on 1 minute. I think I need to get to the next slides here. So you can see, right, as we said, let's see an overview of the global markets, the global AI landscape. I want to focus a little bit on the US compared with China, some of the major geographic regions, China, Europe, and then also lots of you, I understand, are from Central Asia, East Europe area. So we want to take a look at that as well. But because AI is such a very large topic, so I want to focus really on the wide disparity in investment and model production between the US and the rest of the world, right? Can you guys guess how much, what's the disparity between the US investment and the rest of the world, right? So think about, you probably can kind of imagine what's the difference, but let me show you in the next slide. This is actually data, actually the image or a figure I got is from this called AI Index report. It's from the Humanistic AI Institute, right, from Stanford. They actually have an annual report, and this is the latest report from 2024. This is the investment, private investment numbers by geographic region in 2024, right? So you can see US is way up here. And the distant number 2, China, and this number 3, United Kingdom, right? So if you couldn't really see the small numbers, and you probably can see some of the other countries here, but the major 3, you can see if I kind of type the numbers here, right? It's 100, almost 110 billion dollars in terms of private AI investment, and which is actually 12 times greater than China and almost 24 times greater than United Kingdom, which is the second and the third rank on the chat, right? So you can really tell that US is where the money is going, right? So it's really the financial engine for the AI revolution. And if you really zoom in, this is actually just isolate, AI investment, but particularly in the generative AI by geographic region. Again, right, you can see the US, of course, this is where ChatGPT happened, right? And this is explosion of investment. And then owning the gap is only become wider, right? You can see between 2023 and 2024, it's actually become even larger, the gap. Again, right, if you look at the numbers, United, I think it's a little bit cut off because of the probably the aspect ratio, but you can kind of see US is actually $29 billion in generative AI alone in terms of investment, which is really widen the gap between the China and Europe combined, right? So if you really, the numbers, what does that really tell us, right? As we said, we always follow the money. The more investment you have, that means more jobs, more, talent can get, recruited and can get paid, right? And can actually being implemented. This is not just about model training. There's all this infrastructure that needed, right? The data centers need to be built, and all this upstream supply and chips needs to be bought and made, right? And downstream is really all the model training, all the inference needs money, right? So this is really, if you really look at where the things happen, you follow the money, and this is really can tell you that US is really the AI engine in terms of finance and the input of the resources. And let's take a look at the output, right? So as we said, input, right? All the investment going to the US market, and this again is from the same report. If you guys are interested, I can share that report. You can also actually just search for Stanford AI Index report. You will get the latest report for free. But this is another model production number, right? And I did put this this nice world map there, but the little icons or the colors shows the darker the color, the more model production you have, right? Obviously, you can see the most, the two leading country is US and China, right? So, by the way, actually, I grew up in China. I, born and raised there, and I came to the United States for graduate school and stayed and become a professor. So, but I kind of know both countries very well. But you can see those two countries here, and as we said, right, this is output from the investments. And if you look at the actual numbers in 2024, the US actually produced 40 AI models, which is the foundation models, right? The large, language models, foundation models, frontier models, whatever you call it, right? It needs a lot of data, a lot of training, lots of the, GPUs to actually work on it. So at least 40 AI models, were produced in the US, and compared with 15 from China, only 3 from Europe. So you can clearly see, right? If you want to work in the AI field, no matter the investment, and also produce something that is meaningful, influential, US is really where the things happen, right? It's just not the funding AI. The US is really actively producing AI models more than any of the geographic regions. So this is what what I kind of see, right? Focus. I know lots of you have lots of questions about AI, but I want to just focus on the investment part and model production part. Of course, if you have other questions, we can discuss that in our later part of the question and answer session. Okay, so what does that tell us, right? So this is just my personal kind of observations, right? So if we really look at the AI landscape, I think the words probably is a little bit small on your screen, but just bear with me, right? So I think the US is where the money is, right? And because of the money, because AI is very computing intensive, needs a lot of hardware, lots of innovation going on in the US market. What about China, right? You probably think about, okay, how come China has such a small amount of investment but still produce quite a lot of models? I think China is going in a different way, in a sense, right? I think, first of all, it's only accounted for private investment, but I think there's a lot of the unaccounted, like government investment, that the number is not really available. So probably, I think, right, China's private investment, the actual investment in AI is kind of underestimated. That's one thing. Another thing is really China go for more innovation in terms of model training, such as DeepSeek, right? We use the Distill model, use like different way to use less computing power but produce equally powerful models, right? So hard work, different innovation, and China, given the sheer size of the population, we have lots of, China actually have lots of STEM talent as well, right? So you can see a lot of innovation, lots of the AI, research actually come from China. And then also downstream, the infrastructure, what I mean by infrastructure is the entire country's infrastructure, right? Such as power grid, such as nuclear power development, and then down to the consumer market integration with actual AI applications. China is really doing a lot of very good like AI integration with, say, healthcare, with commerce, with supply chain, with infrastructures, building. And so that integration is really driving a lot of innovations as well, especially also in the robotics area. So we can talk a little bit more on that, later on. In terms of Western Europe, right? I think I want to differentiate Western Europe with the Eastern Europe part. I think Western Europe is more like writing the rule book, right? Very ethical and lots of rule guided AI development. What about your region, right? I think your region is very uniquely positioned. Lots of talent, lots of STEM talent as well, right? And hardworking and really fast growing region, and really wants to build something that is very unique and very good for your own country, right? Or your own region. So there's lots of challenges, but as I always say, right, with challenges comes opportunities. So we'll take a look at a little bit more later on when we discuss your questions. But this is basically the kind of overview, right? I'm kind of limited on time, but this what I see as globally. And let's lower down our attitude, right? Altitude to the, where the US market fits your own prospects and AI skill markets. I think lots of you is where does where do I fit in, right? So I think you fit in here, right? As you see, right, this is explosion of generative AI skills that is needed in a job postings, right? This is again from the same report, but aggregated from lots of the job postings in the United States, in United States alone, right? But you can see any of the keywords that mentioned, generative AI, large language model building, prompt engineering, right? It's really increased by quite a lot, right? It's like 300%, right? It's threefold. So really, the demand is really there, right? As we always say, right? You cannot AI is not going to replace you, but they are going to replace the person who does not know how to use AI, right? So really, the job market is really shifting very rapidly, and employers are always is always looking for people with new skill sets, especially in the AI field, which you all know. And then again, right, as we said, the supply side and demand side, demand lots of the AI capable jobs, right, and the skill sets there. But in terms of supply, they're still trying to catch up, right? Me included, in our university, we're catching up to produce, to educate our students in this new skill market. But we're still like doing kind of lag behind. You can see it's just not many masters or bachelors, but you are part of this growing market, right? You're right, it will be riding this wave to actually prepare yourself for the next job markets. Okay, so how does Texas fit in, right? And as we said, lower down and zoom in into Texas, because I'm from Texas State University. You probably hear about Texas, right? So, okay, there's the cowboys and cows. Not really, right? This is really a very one of the AI epic centers in the U.S. You can see this is one of the percent of U.S. AI job postings by the entire state. The darker the color, the more jobs related to AI, right? And you can see Texas is really the second, only behind California. California is really Silicon Valley, right? But no matter, right? They have Silicon Valley. We actually have Silicon Hills. So this Texas is really number 2 in AI jobs. The Silicon Hills is because Texas here, especially in the Austin area, we are called hill country. We have the little rolling hills around the area. So people just dub it as Silicon Hills. It's really where one of the innovation hubs is in the United States, right? And ranked second in the AI investment. You probably hear a lot about like X, right? Elon Musk and Google and Dell and AMD and all this, right? They're all building here like crazy. Samsung building chips, in not far away from where I'm at. So really, one of the massive engine for AI, because it's very business friendly, have lots of resources in terms of energy and lots of talent. In the local areas as well. And as we said, right, zooming in from Texas and all the way down to where Texas State and is, right? We are in this place called San Marcos. It's very close to where Austin is. Austin is the capital city of Texas, right? But you can see this corridor, right? From Houston, San Marcos, Austin, San Antonio, Dallas. This kind of like a triangle has lots of business, right? Energy resources here. Dallas has lots of telecom, other industry. Austin is really the Silicon Hill, right? It's really the AI, one of the AI hubs. Hunger for talent, right? UT Austin is right here, Texas A&M right here, us, right, Texas State right here, and lots of other universities to choose from, right? And lots of the tech companies, and really it's where semiconductor, AI operation, and all this, and also some of the defense tech is right in this region, right? It's in this corridor, right? It's, if you really interested in this, really they will put you physically into the center of this AI job market. We have lots of the of access to the local companies. We have the collaboration with local companies, and internships, research opportunities. Okay, so we're called the Bobcats, Texas State. So at Texas State we have lots of research going on, quite practical research, and of course we also value teaching very much, right? And our students really they are very happy, in our university. So together, really, we want to build the future workforce of Texas. So I want to wrap up, right, because I'm kind of running out of time, but I will come back to answer your questions. You can see basically the global AI is developing very fast, but depends on where you look at, right? And you want to focus on where things are happening. And the US is definitely where things are happening, right? And it will reward, your talent. And then really Texas is one of the bright spots, in the AI field. So join us, right? And let's build the future together. Okay, so I'm done with my presentation. I'll yield the floor to my colleague to talk about Texas State applications, and then I will come back to answer your questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Long. That was amazing. And I feel like whenever I hear some of our faculty present, I always learn a lot in the process as well. So definitely appreciate Dr. Long's presentation today about AI. Hopefully you all got a chance to learn a little bit too about the state of AI globally, as well as what we are doing in the US, and then of course at Texas State University as well. I think that for a lot of students, it's really important to think about what kind of jobs can I be eligible for? Is AI going to replace my job? And I think Dr. Long did a great job explaining, kind of how to harness the power of AI as it grows. So my name is Rahul, and I am the international recruiter for Texas State University. So my role really is to talk about admissions and to talk about Texas State a little bit more specifically about the university. And as Dr. Long mentioned, we do have a time limit here, so I'll try to keep my presentation brief because we do want to make sure that we are answering any questions that folks have. If you do have questions, please feel free to put them, I believe, in the comments or in the chat, so that we can answer them after I'm done with my presentation. So what I'm going to talk about a little bit more is about Texas State University in particular. So you saw this map earlier in Dr. Long's presentation as well. So Texas State is located in San Marcos. So San Marcos is a college town. We're located about 40 minutes south of Austin. I know it may be hard to read on your screen here, but basically we are a college town, like I said, located between Austin and San Antonio. We're about 40 minutes away from Austin and about an hour and a half away from San Antonio. The region we are in is called Hill Country. And so it's actually a very beautiful area. We have this river that runs through the campus. It's a really lovely campus. We do have a much smaller campus that's also located in Round Rock. And Round Rock is a lot closer to Austin. It's about 15 minutes away from Austin. And as I said, San Marcos is about 40 minutes away from Austin. So San Marcos itself is a town with a population of about 70,000 people. And the student population is about 44,000 so far. But downtown San Marcos is a lovely part of the city where a lot of students hang out. We have, like I said, a lot of nature that surrounds us, so lots of opportunities for hiking, camping, swimming, of course, in the river that runs through the campus. We have more than 300 days of sunshine per year, so Texas is generally pretty warm. We don't really get very strong winters at all. And then we have about 1,200 plus acres around campus. We also have lots of restaurants, lots of barbecue places, taco places, Tex-Mex food, and of course, a lot of like walking tours and things like that around campus as well. Texas State University itself is a large public research institution. We have been around for over 125 years. We have, like I said, 44,000 students, so it's a fairly large campus, of which about 2,000 are international students coming to us from 93 different countries. So lots and lots of folks from all over the world, including folks from Eastern Europe and Central Asia as well. We have 200 plus program offerings, so about 100 different majors on the undergrad side and about 120 graduate and PhD programs. We have a lot of ranked degrees in advertising, business, criminal justice, education, social work, etc. These are just some pictures of the campus. Again, you can see it's a very green campus. You can see that river that's running through the campus. I did have a video, but since this is a PDF, it was hard to upload the video in there. But do join us for one of our webinars if you want to be able to see that video as well. We also have a YouTube channel and you can see the video of campus there. So one of our traditions, as Dr. Long mentioned, our mascot is a bobcat named Boko. You see Boko all around campus at games, at student events, just walking around campus sometimes. And then you'll often see students making those two symbols that the young woman at the bottom is making. Her left hand is the state of Texas. This is the shape of the state of Texas. Hopefully you can see it on my video as well. And then her right hand is the claw for the bobcat. So those you will see often at games. Our school colors are maroon and gold. And then we have this fun tradition when students graduate where they can jump into the river if they choose to. And sometimes parents and families join along as well. So it's really kind of a fun tradition. Of course, you're not required to, but a lot of our students do that when they graduate. So in terms of campus amenities, with being a large campus like we are, there is something always going on campus. We have 25 different on-campus residence halls. We have 3 different dining centers. We have a student health center with doctors and nurses, a state-of-the-art student center, and then we also have a recreation center that has a gym, but then also has a lot of like climbing equipment. They have outdoor recreation gear that you can rent if you want to go hiking or camping. And then last but not least, we also have a shuttle service around campus. So our main campus has about 180 buildings. So it's a pretty large campus. Most of our students walk or take bicycles around campus, but we do have a shuttle service. And it operates during the school days, but it also operates more importantly at night. So if you're out with friends or you're out by yourself at a restaurant or cafe, you don't want to walk back to campus for whatever reason because it's dark, you can request the shuttle service and they operate from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. So they will come pick you up where you're at and drop you off to your dorm or your housing. In terms of accommodations, as I mentioned, we have 25 different housing options around campus. You can see some photos of those over here on the screen. First-year students are required to live on campus. The only exception is if they've graduated from high school more than a year ago. But we also have off-campus housing available for our graduate students, as well as for those undergrad students who are not required to live on campus. And the housing office assists with that off-campus housing as well. You can see all of our housing options and rates on our ResLife website. And then move-in dates are provided to the students before classes start so that they can move into their campus, meet their roommates, etc. Most of our housing has 1 to 2 roommates. So depending on the size of the dorm, that's typically what it looks like. And then there's a variety of other things that you need to do before you can fill out your housing that's listed at the bottom there. But you don't need to worry about that right now. We will communicate that with you after you've been admitted. From a career support standpoint, I know Dr. Long touched on this a little bit. On the left side, you can see a lot of just a sample of the companies that have hired on campus. Austin is a rapidly growing city. It historically has been the tech hub of Texas. And then we are also very close to the cities of Dallas and Houston. So lots of opportunities there as well for internships as well as full-time job opportunities. Our career services team is excellent. They provide everything from resume and cover letter coaching to mock interviews. They even have a business closet that you can borrow clothes from if you need to be on camera or be in person for an interview. And then we have 15 plus in-person job fairs each year that they offer. So lots and lots of opportunities to engage with the local companies and to build those networks at an early stage as you are in the program. On the academic side of the house, we have 7 different academic colleges. So think of these as kind of the larger umbrella under which all the majors are housed. And then all of our programs can be found on our website as well. And you can see the undergrad as well as grad options. And then we also have STEM designated programs. So as some of you may already know, if you are coming to the US as an international student and you're applying for what is known as a STEM designated program, so that's a science, technology, engineering, math program, then you can work in the US for up to 3 years after you graduate without needing a work visa. So it's really, really great opportunity for international students to continue to expand their career opportunities in the US. And then we also have some English language programs for those of you that might be interested. And again, I can talk about that separately. This I know might be hard for you all to see, but these are just all of the majors that we have available. So you can see this has bachelor's, master's, as well as PhD programs housed within the 7 different colleges that I mentioned. So lots and lots of programs that are available. I would definitely encourage you to take a look at this on our website, or we also have view books that are available, and I'm happy to email those to anyone in a PDF format if you're interested in that. In terms of the undergrad application process, I'll just quickly talk about this. So it's a 4-step process typically. So basically what happens is that you apply through Apply Texas or Common App, you pay the $90 application fee, you upload your documents. We don't require any third-party evaluations, but we do need the transcripts to be in English. So if your undergraduate or if your high school has your transcripts in a different language, please make sure you get it officially translated, and then you can upload that official translation along with your original transcripts to our uploader. And then you send in any official test scores. So we don't require the SAT or ACT, but we do accept it if students have taken it. And then we do require English language proficiency scores. We have some countries that are exempt, but most countries do require it. And typically students take either the IELTS, TOEFL, Duolingo, or PTE. The minimum scores for those are listed on the screen, as you can see. And then you will receive a decision in roughly 2 to 4 weeks. So it's a pretty quick decision process, and we do decisions on a rolling basis. So even though we have deadlines for application, we do give out decisions on a rolling basis. So it's nice because you get a decision within 2 to 4 weeks after you've applied. On the SAT, ACT side, if you do take that, we will review your application for scholarships based on SAT, ACT scores plus your GPA. So I'll talk about that a little bit more later. I do want to talk about the graduate application process. It's similar to undergrad in that you will go to the graduate application website and pay the application fee over there. You will send in copies of your official international transcripts from your undergraduate institution. If you have a 3-year bachelor's, we will only accept it if it's equivalent to a US bachelor's degree. We do look for a minimum of a 2.75 out of a 4.0 GPA on your undergrad. If you've repeated any classes, we will ignore the first time you repeated a class, but if you took it more than once, then we will start to take that GPA into account. And again, similar to undergrad, you don't have to submit any third-party evaluations. If you have a gap in your education, whether you've been working or you took some time off, that's totally fine. GRE, GMAT really depends on the graduate program that you're applying to, so they may require it, and your best bet is to look at the individual program requirements for that particular graduate program. And then depending on the program, again, they may need specific documents like your resume, statement of purpose, letters of recommendations, things like that. And so if you go on our website and search for graduate programs, you'll be able to see a list of all of our graduate programs, and you can see the requirements there. English language proficiency is a requirement, again, for most graduate programs. And they have different score requirements as well. Some sample score requirements are listed over here as well. So these are some of the English language exempt countries, as I was saying. Most of these tend to be in either Commonwealth countries, which are basically countries that were colonized by the British. And you see the list over there. So you won't see a lot within Eastern Europe or Central Asia over here, but we do have some English language exempt countries. I'll talk a little bit about the immigration process for undergrad and graduate students, and then talk about the cost of tuition and scholarships, and then I'll finish out my presentation. So for the immigration process, the first option is that students can upload their bank documents and passport right in the application. It's not required, but if you do this, you will automatically get your I-20 sent to you 5 days after you've been admitted. The second option is that the students don't upload their documentation and they wait till they get their admissions decision, and they'll get an email with the link of how to request their I-20, and then they can upload the bank documents and passport there, and then the I-20 is generated and sent to the student, and that's, again, typically about 5 business days, so about 1 week. And then bank documents are based on your cost of tuition. And of course, if you receive any scholarship, that's taken out of the amount that you're required to show. So let's talk about costs. So these are the current costs for undergraduate and graduate. You'll see that there's 2 columns for Texas resident and non-resident. So normally when international students are applying, they're applying as a non-resident. So the tuition and fees for undergrad, for instance, is $24,500 a year. However, if you get a scholarship, whether you're undergraduate or graduate, if you get a scholarship of $1,000 or more per year, you are eligible to pay the Texas resident rate. So it's a huge benefit for our international students, because in the case of undergrad, their tuition goes from $24,500 to about $12,220. And then whatever scholarship you get is deducted from the resident amount. So let's say you get a scholarship of $6,000. Your tuition drops first to $12,220 if you're undergrad, and then the $6,000 scholarship comes out of that. So you're actually only paying $6,220 in tuition and fees for the year. So this is an incredibly good deal for most of our students, and they really appreciate this. Similarly, on the graduate side, your tuition would drop from $16,380 to $9,000, and then whatever scholarship you get would be deducted from that $9,000 amount. So we do have scholarships available at both the undergraduate and the graduate side for international students. I know this question comes up a lot. On the undergraduate side, after you apply, you're automatically reviewed for academic scholarships, and that's based on your strength of your academics. If you apply with an SAT or ACT score, that will get taken into account as well. And academic scholarships are awarded automatically about 3 weeks after your admissions decision is sent out. And then we also have what are known as competitive scholarships, which you can apply for separately. You do have to fill out separate applications for the competitive scholarships, and those can be stacked on top of the academic scholarships. And as I said, if you get $1,000 or more in scholarships, you will be able to pay the in-state tuition. And on the graduate side, we do have scholarships that are given out by the graduate college. Those are known as fellowships. They're anywhere from 15 to 50% of your tuition. And then depending on the department, you may also be eligible for assistantships. And again, you can also apply for the competitive scholarships via the BOSS portal. So that's about it from my end. This is my contact info up here, my WhatsApp, as well as my email address. Feel free to take a photo if you'd like, and you can always reach out to us via our social media channels as well if you have any questions. And please join us for future webinars that we conduct via Texas State University as well. So thank you again to Oksana and to the Education USA team for having us here, and we're definitely open for any questions for these last 15 minutes or so that we have.
Thank you so much, dear colleagues. We have a couple of questions from the registered participants, so I will be glad to read them to you. Thank you so much, first of all, for sharing so many opportunities for students as well as career opportunities. It was really interesting, and I hope we will have more questions after students will watch this webinar. And regarding the question that was already mentioned while registration, is the transformation for global markets in the United States, AI provides a dangerous one?
I think I will answer that. AI, the question is a very good question, right? If I understand that correctly, is AI going to be dangerous for the market? Of course, right? So some people actually will, or you actually read some books or articles, they compare AI's, the existence of AI as the invention of the atomic bomb, right? So in a sense, it is very powerful tool, but depends on how you use it, right? I always tell my student it's a double-edged sword. You cannot say this tool is right or wrong, or is evil or good. It really depends on how people use it, right? So AI has been used in very good cases and bring tremendous amount of benefits to the humanity. A very good example is called, I'm sure some of you probably already know, it's called AlphaFold. If you just quickly Google it, you will see it's actually won a Nobel Prize for the Google DeepMind research team, right? So it's basically unfold all the protein structures so we can discover hidden patterns, or find clues to cure cancer, to do all sorts of things. And then there's all kinds of other very good use cases. But also at the same time, right, AI has been used to kill people, to surveillance, do severe surveillance on on citizens. And that's actually is if this goes uncontrolled, of course it will be dangerous, right? So in terms of business, I'm from business school, so I think lots of times, I have to use a little, I think it's a little bit cautious, right? I have to move cautiously, because lots of people are saying there's some AI bubbles in the investment, for sure, right? You see a lot of the profit-driven AI applications. Lots of times, if we just let the just pure corporate profit-driven decision in this AI field, it will lots of times it will bring I would say negative effects, right? So it has to be very responsible, explainable AI, right? Which people are doing that, right? Of course, it's always a catch-up, kind of game. But I do see there's more, say, regulations, lawsuits, and and litigations, really to catch up with AI development, because this. But for sure, right? This field is developing so fast. But I truly, because we're kind of limited on time, but I truly, I would say, put a lot of faith in humanity. Not just from reading, but from my interaction with my students. I teach AI related courses. One of the major things that people focus on is really the ethical use of AI, right? And make sure that there's guardrails, there's there's responsible, explainable data usage, no biases. So, from my interaction with like on the very micro level, personal level, I do see people's concern, and I do see people actually actively advocate and doing something about it. Yeah. So, and then in the business side, from my interaction with, the business corporations and people who actually in the trenches, right? They also is very careful about what AI can do and what AI cannot do, and this human in the loop is always the top concern of the business. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, that is really interesting and transforming. Okay, so I think we have another question from our students, and this is about what do you think, is the marketing degree still a good degree to get in the age of AI, and will AI take away most jobs in marketing?
Again, it's a question for me. I'm a CIS major or CIS professor, right? So I teach CIS majors, but I do also sometimes get marketing students in my class. They do product development, they do product marketing, product management, design, thinking. All this is related to marketing. Again, right? I think I mentioned in my presentation that I don't think AI is going to replace the entire industry. So this is actually also supported by data, right? We have AI in the field already, being integrated into business for 3 years already, right? Since 2022. But we don't really see like the entire industry gets, or entire profession gets eliminated. No. So far, there's no data showing that, right? But we do see like some of the functionalities, like some of the components of your work gets to be replaced. Like, for example, sometimes I write emails, right? I will say, okay, I will just let AI to draft the email for me, and then I will double check, right? That's a small component. And then down to marketing, like say, if you want AI to gather some information to do, like say, if you just use deep research, right, from Google or some other like cloud, right, you can actually do deep research in terms of the market analysis, and it will do a very good job for you. But still, right, you have to be in there, like human in the loop, have to double check that everything is correct, right? The references, the data is correct and does not make does make sense. So again, right, AI is not going to replace the entire industry. AI is going to replace the people who doesn't know how to use AI. That's one thing, right? And then if you do know how to use AI as your friend, not as your enemy, right? So you can use AI to do like market research for you, to do consumer insights analysis for you, but ultimately you are the one who come up with this idea, right? You are the one who come up with this this initial light bulb comes on, right? And then you are the one also to understand your customer on the human level, right? So I always tell my students, right, what AI cannot do, or at least now, is like really understand the humans, empathy, empathetic, right? Of course, they can tell you that I feel so empathetic to you, but it's all like statistics. You want like on a human level, your personal touch, right? Your human perspective still is very important. So I won't say like marketing is like doomed or not. I do see a lot of applications being used to like say personally marketing to each different person using AI's guide, right? As I mentioned, China is one of the AI integration hub, right? So they actually could push, there's a lot of the like small business, online small business in China, And each one of a small business owner will be able to have an AI assistant so they can map out, what their customers are saying, and to each of the customer, they can push different product based on the AI tools the platform provided, right? So that's a very smart use of marketing, and you only see that gets to be used more instead of being replaced by AI. Yeah, so
Yeah, thank you so much. Nowadays, actually, I also share this like tip with my students. You can use AI like when you write something or like do some tasks, but you should do it wisely first of all, yes, and check all the information. But I agree with you that this is the human who creates the all ideas and like gives the task to AI. So of course you have to be present and check all the information, and this is really important. Thank you so much for sharing. I think we have one more question and we are about to finish our webinar. So for students without a strong technical background, what skills should we start developing to work with AI in business roles?
that's a very good question. Some people get very intimidated by AI, right? You say, okay, that's computer science, right? I have nothing to do with it. Not really. AI is owning, because I just finished a course that I taught 60 MBA students that they have no idea, like they have no background in technology, right? Lots of them, they are like the teachers, they are like secretary, and they are like doctors, but they don't know how to create AI when they came into the course. But after just 8 weeks, they will be able to actually create chatbots. Small AI agent can automatically gather information, analyze the information, send the email automatic to them each day, something like that, right? Lots of the very cool applications. They have no technical background whatsoever, but AI really these days, if you could talk like speak English, even like you don't have to speak English, like because I can prompt the Chinese like DeepSeek, I can get very good answers also. If you could talk, you will be able to get like AI to do things for you, right? So of course you cannot train AI models. That's for computer science for sure. But if it's on the application side, don't be intimidated. You will be able to like use AI as your tutor. You don't even need a like a like a fancy professor like me. You don't. You can start working with AI, ask AI smart questions, go through step by step. You will be able to create AI, use AI, learn AI by yourself. It's a powerful tool and it's free most of the time. And you can definitely, utilize that. Yes. No technical degree is whatsoever is needed. Yeah. I would say it's only really narrow the gap and really, I would say, democratize the technology for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds really inspiring, I think, for many students.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think maybe like last tips that you could give to students how they can use AI, because if we talk about undergraduate students, they tend to write their essays using AI. So maybe any tips like would you like to share with them?
Mm, I don't want you to write essays use AI because from my professor's perspective, I can tell. So if my student use AI to do homework, I usually could tell. So that's one thing, right? If I'm on the receiving side, I see like people use AI to just one click and generate something. I won't take this person seriously because I know this person didn't put in effort. So why do I bother to put in my effort if you don't, right? So it's basically a very like two-way reciprocal. But I do like you guys to use AI, to prompt AI to help you write essay, right? So in a sense that you can say, okay, I have this idea. I don't know how to express it, right? Can you give me some examples so I can learn? Or you send in your draft, you ask it to critique. You don't actually ask it to regenerate it for you, no, right? You say, okay, tell me where I can improve, still keep my own voice, right? Because And then also, again, right, as I said, humanity is very important because that's how it defines us as a human. So your personal story only you can tell, right? Otherwise, if you use AI, it's mechanical, it's very pedantic. It's just the same. So you want it to be your own voice. So you can start writing. Of course, you can use AI to polish it, but start writing in your own voice, to show your own person, as a person. So yeah.
And I'll just add one quick thing to what Dr. Long said, which is, we also see sometimes students using AI for when they're applying for schools, right? So whether it's undergraduate or graduate programs. And very similar to what Dr. Long was saying, we've all used AI. We all know what the voice of AI, so to speak, sounds like. And when you're applying, it's really important that you're talking about your experiences. And again, as Dr. Long said, like, it's your voice, because that is what makes you unique. That's what makes you stand out against someone else who's also applying for the same program, who might have very similar credentials to you. It's more about kind of why you're passionate about, X program that you're applying to. So I think that's really important to think about. I mean, think about it this way, like if you're using recommenders, right, and you have 2 or 3 recommenders that you use, how would you feel if they just put, a random information into AI and said, generate a letter of recommendation, right? You want that letter of recommendation to be personal, to be relevant to your experience, to your background. And so it's very similar when anyone is reading those essays, whether it's faculty or people on the admissions team, they want to make sure they're hearing who you are and not what AI thinks you are. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for these useful tips. I hope our students will follow them, of course. And thank you so much for being here today with us and for this wonderful presentation, for sharing so many opportunities for our students. Thank you so much for those students who joined us today. And of course, you can watch this webinar recorded on our YouTube channel. And thanks again, and see you during our next streams.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Bye-bye.